welcome back to Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections. Welcome to a brand new Sacred Union Energy Update. As per usual, I was not expecting to do this. I had other things that I wanted to do this week. And I was just going to kind of let the Sacred Union updates come in as I'm called to. I'm taking a little bit of a step back from the Sacred Union Energy updates. Just because I feel like I want to go deeper. And so I have intended to move over to the Susan Dawn Ascension Connection side of things with deeper channelings with regards to the higher heart ascension, kind of like the next phase of our journey. Still has to do with sacred unions, but just deeper dives, not so much looking at the divine masculine, divine feminine energies and what's going on with them. And that's my intention kind of going forward, and just doing like mini check-ins on the Patreon or when I'm called to. Lo and behold, I've been called to, and the reason why is because I had a dream last night. I have also intended to kind of put that phase of my journey behind me, and just kind of look forward, keep looking forward with regards to counterparts and connections and things like that. Nothing's part of my physical reality right now, although I can feel it energetically, and I just kind of feel excited for whatever the next chapter brings and whoever that brings in too. However, last night, and I feel like it was no coincidence that last night was a Scorpio new moon, which I realized as I woke up. Last night I had a dream about the person that I have called my twin. You guys know how I feel about the labels. The labels don't matter. The labels really never matter to me. I've been really consistent in that from the beginning of my journey. That it's just a way to differentiate between the depth of connections that we feel. I've always just called him my person because that's how he always felt to me. He always felt like my person, whether that is a soulmate, whether that is a twin flame. It never really mattered. The label doesn't matter. He was the person that catalyzed me absolutely to my ascension journey. And I believe that we catalyzed each other. So last night, it was interesting. I had a dream, and I woke up from that dream just feeling a lot of love. And it almost is annoying because I've gotten to this place in my journey where, again, I'm just kind of looking forward. I feel like I've closed a door in the past, and it doesn't mean that doors can't open again, but it's definitely going to open in a different way, open in different energies, because I'm in a different energy, and I've been recognizing that for a very long time. And last night I had a dream that he and I met again or reconciled. We were in the same place at the same time. His daughter and I were there, and we had a beautiful reunion. And as soon as he saw me and as soon as we saw each other, he just started smiling. And we looked into each other's eyes, and there was just love. And we were happy. And he was happy to see me. And that was so jarring a little bit because our ending had been so difficult. It had been so painful the last time that we had actually seen each other, or actually many of the times in the past, over that past year that we had seen each other, and then the silence that had come from this past year, and any interaction that we have had has not been direct. So the past 2 years had been very difficult, but I was looking at him in this dream, and he was just very present. And he's been in my dreams before, and I always feel like he's always in my dreams in some way. His energy is somehow always there, just kind of like on the periphery. He might not be very physically present in the dreams. The dreams might not be about him, but his energy, I can feel some semblance of that energy there. This time, however, he was very physically present in the dream. The dream was actually about him and about us. So we were having this kind of reconciliation, and we went for a walk, and we were just happy. And I could feel the energy within myself was very different, and even the energy within him was different. And there wasn't any defensiveness, there wasn't any anger, there wasn't any blame or projection or any of that heaviness that we had experienced. It was just him. And I was looking at him, and I'm like, this is my person. This is who I know. This is who I've always known. It's just our connection had just gotten completely off track or toxic, or, very confusing and very just challenged. But I was like, this is the person that I've always known. And I remember looking at him, and I'm like, I haven't seen you smile like this in a really long time. I haven't seen you this happy. And it was like we were happy to be with each other. We were happy to see each other. And I mentioned, like, I can't just completely ignore the past. And he acknowledged that as well. He acknowledged the past and needing to heal the past and mend the past between us. But it was like it was a start. And I just the joy that we experienced with each other and the love that was flowing between us. When I woke up, it kind of shook me up. Not in a negative way, but just in a number one, why why am I experiencing this? Why did he come in to my dreams last night? And number two, it was so full of love, and I don't know if it was a closure for myself, where it was allowing myself to acknowledge the love that is between us and has always been between us, that I've always known, but that has kind of gotten um, painfully so off track. That has, gotten, I don't know how to describe it. There has not been a lot of love between us, shown between us in the past 2 years. It's been very difficult and very painful, whether it was direct interactions or indirect interactions. Um, but there was just love here. There was just love, and there was joy, and there was happiness, and there was peace. And this is how I've always seen him and seen us. And this is how I've always known him, underneath the surface of kind of all the shitty behaviors and all the shitty actions and the withdrawn energy that I've experienced with him. And I remember thinking in that dream, this is who I know you to be, this unguarded version of yourself, this happy version of yourself. This is what I've always wanted you to be, because he was affectionate, and he was happy and loving and smiling. And I remember thinking, it's been a really long time since I've seen you actually genuinely smile. And but seeing him smile and seeing that joy and seeing that happiness and seeing that love in his eyes, it's like that's what I've always wanted, and that's what I've always wanted for him. Whether that meant connection with us, a relationship with us or not, that's what I always wanted for him. And so, whether this is kind of closure with regards to, just allowing myself to feel love for him, whatever that means, um, with respect to like our individual lives, with respect to our connection, and with respect to our physical lives, or, whatever that means. I really don't know what this means. I'm not attached into it. I'm just observing it as an energy, as a dream, and how does it make me feel? And it makes me feel happy. It makes me feel like what I've always believed is true, is that there is love, and I don't know if that's ever going to be reconciled in the physical, but it's at least being reconciled in the 5Ds, at least being reconciled energetically, and I can trust my heart in that, and at the very least, it's me allowing myself to love regardless, and know that love was or is in some way returned, even if it's not shown that way in the physical. Because I had, gone through a lot of this past year thinking that he hates me, and knowing that he was projecting onto me and blaming me for certain things in life that had nothing to do with me. And there was a lot of defensiveness between us, and it feels like there's some kind of closure. And just to feel that energy of peace between us, and that energy of love, and that energy of happiness, and just to see him smile like that, it felt good. It felt good, because that's all I ever wanted, was for him to be happy, genuinely happy, and to smile like that. That's the person that I missed. Anyway, so that being said, I've been called to kind of do a Sacred Union energy update and kind of see where the energies are, especially after the 11/11 portal and the new moon in Scorpio. Now, if you guys missed it, make sure that you're checking out the 11/11 portal reading, because I do feel like that was a very powerful one. We were feeling a lot of things. We stepped into the vortex, and there was a lot of depth with regards to the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine readings. Divine Masculines going through a major cycle, closing cycles, moving into the next phases of their lives, of themselves. Divine Feminines holding space within the Merkaba is what we had channeled. So if you missed it, it's a timeless reading. The 1111 portal is a portal that stays open. You know, we're always moving through portals. A portal is not just on one specific day and it's closed. You're always moving through portals. So if you missed it, that reading might still recognize or resonate with you, and you can still recognize, you know, through your conscious awareness, you know, making different choices and moving into new portals, because a portal is just your conscious awareness. The portals are just accelerated or amplified energy that helps to support us. So you, through your conscious awareness and your conscious choices, can raise in your frequency, raise in your vibration, and shift at any time. So that reading is timeless. I would encourage you to check that out. And I didn't do a reading for the sacred or for the new moon in Scorpio because I wasn't feeling it, especially on the heels of the 1111 portal. But let's kind of dig into it and see what might be going on after this new moon in Scorpio. How is the energies kind of settling? We're still in the energy. New moon support continues a couple days before and a couple days after. We might still feel the effects of it. There's a calming energy that's coming through here. Something, I'm hearing the word balance. Something feels like it's balancing out. It feels as if the energies between the masculine and the feminine are balancing out. It does feel like there is more harmony that is flowing. This could be within yourself, within your own masculine and feminine energy. This could be within your connection, whether this is a physical connection or whether you're feeling it energetically, like I am, obviously. Or this could be within the global collective. We also channeled last week that there was a lot of collective anger that was coming up. And it was sacred anger. It's meant to be felt and harnessed in productive ways and felt in healthy ways. And by that I mean having healthy outlets with which to explore and express that anger. Not destructive, not in wounded states, but in healthy states. And so I feel as if I'll put a couple of links in the description box, links of interest for you guys to check out if you missed any of these readings or any of these messages. But I feel like it all plays a part. And I feel like now we're moving into this energy of continued accelerated ascension is what I'm hearing. The ascension's continuing and it's still accelerated. So we're still feeling high vibrational energy. We're still feeling lots of shifts happening all at once. I'm hearing happening simultaneously. So I feel like we're kind of like jumping, leapfrogging across timelines because things are shifting so quickly. But I do feel like there is more balance, peace, calm, and harmony that's coming into our energy fields. So let's see what's going on for the Divine Masculine. Goddess of Awakening. This is similar to what we got for the 1111 portal, which is that awakening energy entering the vortex of your ascension. So we have, this is a wondrous time of exploration, romance, and creativity. We're going to channel on that in a minute. I'm going to get some tarot to clarify immediately, I think, but let's get some more for the Divine Feminine. Let's get a card for the Divine Feminine. Get a card for the Divine Feminine, please. Interesting. We have Angel of Finance and God of Conflict Resolution. And let's get a card for the Union energies, please. We have Angel of Abundance. Okay. I'm going to get some tarot to clarify as well. This is going to be for the Divine Masculine. Okay. So the Divine Masculine is going through an awakening. They're going through the accelerated ascension. I'm not going to repeat myself because I feel like this energy is very similar to what we had channeled for the 1111 portal reading, which again I encourage you guys to read. But I feel like there is this energy of rest that has come over the Divine Masculine. I feel like they might have had some tower moments, which again we channeled. I think we channeled that in the Patreon extended reading. So if you guys are Patreon members, you have access to all of the extended readings plus like 50 pick-a-piles, bonus readings, etc. from, you know, the duration of the Patreon community. So I feel like there's this energy of rest from those tower moments. I feel like the weekend might have been in some way, whether externally or internally, some way, kind of chaotic for the divine masculine. They're going through this massive awakening. They're going through a next level of their ascension, a next level of their journey. And there's a lot of energetic shifts that are happening. And I feel like they're being called to rest. And that might be some of the calm and the soothing and the peace that's being felt right now. Now, as we all know, things happen energetically and not just physically. And so I feel as if what's happening is the divine masculine during this period of rest, they are receiving downloads, they're receiving insight. I'm also hearing the word clarity. I'm seeing the Ace of Swords here. And they're also receiving a lot of light codes. And that's indicative of this. I'm also getting this energy of dreaming. And this is coming in two ways. Number one, it's dreaming about the connection. It's dreaming about receiving those downloads in dream state, for example, such as I had. I actually had a dream about my divine masculine. So they could be dreaming about you as well, or having insight about you. The other thing that could be happening is it feels like they're beginning to really dream again, as far as passion, as far as purpose, as far as what do they want out of life. For many of these masculines, they had suppressed their own desires, had suppressed their own dreams, and had suppressed their own passions. And that's begun to awaken within them as well. And we've been channeling that for the past year as part of their ascension journey. And I'm just getting this energy of the star card here. It's like believing that it's possible now. They're beginning to believe that their dreams are actually possible, where they had been neglecting themselves or avoiding that possibility because I'm hearing the pain of rejection would be too great. The pain of, let me put it this way, the pain of believing in something and then being rejected feels so great that they would rather suppress it and avoid it. Divine feminines, you've been there too, believing in something and trusting in something with your whole heart. And what you've learned on this journey is to trust your heart and trust what you believe and trust your intuition, but without attaching to it, without attaching to the expectation, without attaching to the outcome. And that's how you have seen within your physical experience so many miracles and so much magic manifest in your physical life. And that's this energy of abundance that's coming through here. Divine feminines, because you believe, without having that control or that need for control, or forcing it or manipulating it, or trying to have an expectation or an outcome on it, you have been in a state of surrender. But surrender doesn't mean that you're not still believing. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. Surrender just means it's that, what I call, is that sweet spot between trust and acceptance. That's what surrender is, and that's what faith is. And divine feminines, you've learned how to have that. You've learned how to surrender in that energy. But you believe. And that belief is like that inner knowing, it's your intuition. Divine masculine is beginning to really understand that. And it's because they're beginning to go within and open up their heart. They're starting to have these expansions within their mind and expansions within their heart, where they had been pretty limited. Limited within themselves. It's like going deeper within themselves. I'm just seeing these spirals here, and that's reminding me of that vortex energy that we had from the 1111 portal reading, where it's like going deeper and deeper within the self. And that's what ascension is. As you're raising your frequency, you're going deeper and deeper into the truth of yourself, into the core of yourself. That core of yourself is the very universe itself. That's your connection to God's source. That's your connection to the universe. It is the soul. It is the crux. It is the center of things. And you go deeper and deeper and deeper within. And that comes from expansion. And I feel like they're beginning to recognize that they can be happy, that they can have what they want, and not in a control way, not in a taking kind of way, but in a I believe kind of way. I believe that this is possible. I believe that I can open up my heart. I believe that I can open up to my passions. I believe that I can have the life that I really desire. They had really struggled against this. They had really fought against themselves, resisted their very self. They resisted themselves, and that was part of their lifelong struggle, is they were in resistance to what their soul was trying to guide them to what their heart was trying to guide them to. And now they're beginning to realize that they can have so much possibility here. Okay, I want to stick with the Divine Masculines for a minute and get some clarity and see what's going on for the Divine Masculines. We have the Seven of Swords. Yeah, that's where they had betrayed themselves. That's where they had resisted themselves. That's where they had even sabotaged themselves. And that's, too, where they had held themselves back because they were in such battle. But now they're recognizing, and there's this healing energy that's coming through here. There's these light codes that are coming through here. Now they're beginning, I can't tell you how powerful this card feels energetically, because they're beginning to realize that they can surrender, that they don't have to fight themselves anymore, that they don't have to avoid themselves, they don't have to deny what they want, they don't have to suppress themselves anymore. And this happens in a number of different ways: suppressing their expression of self, suppressing their desires, suppressing what they want. Now remember that we're putting this in the context of higher consciousness. So we're not talking about suppressing what they want as far as material objects, as far as the lower consciousness kind of energy. We're putting all of this in the context of higher consciousness. So when we're talking about what they want, we're talking about energy. We're talking about, having a career that fulfills them, having a commitment that uplifts them and encourages them, and that is filled with unconditional love and presence. When we're talking about finances, for example, we're talking about stability and being able to provide, being able to offer something. So we're putting things into a higher context, into a higher level. Not so much about, oh, this is what I want. I want to be a player. I want, a dozen cars. I want this. That's all like, no, we're not talking about that. We're putting things into the context of energy, and we're putting it into the context of higher level ascension, higher consciousness. So I feel like they're beginning to recognize that they can have everything that they want and that they desire in life. And that they don't have to sabotage themselves, and they're recognizing that they were sabotaging themselves, and that's part of the battle that they fought, and that's why they feel so weary. And especially over this past weekend, it feels like they really had gone through some tower moments and even some ego death, so to speak. You guys know that I don't like to call it an ego death. It's like a dissolution of the ego. It's an integration of the ego. The more aware you are of the ego, the more you can learn to listen to your soul, listen to your intuition instead. So I feel like they've become aware of their patterns, aware of their habits, become aware of themselves in a new level. And that's where they can begin, through that level of awareness, to make different choices. This Nine of Wands I'm hearing is a warrior. This is somebody who might feel tired, who might feel a little bit weary, but it's not somebody who gives up. This person does not give up, and that is to be commended, because that is the warrior spirit. It is to honor where you've been, to recognize the battles that you fought, but to know that where you're going is even better than where you were, and to trust in that. And I feel like that's where the Divine Masculine is kind of headed. So tell me more about this Divine Masculine. Justice, yeah. We had said in the 1111 portal that there was a karma clearing that was happening, cycles that were ending, and this is more so for the conscious masculine. This, if the masculine that you might be connected to has not been growing, has not been changing, has not been healing, then they're just going to repeat cycles, continue to repeat cycles. This is somebody who is growing in awareness and making those conscious changes within themselves or even within their lives. And as that happens, I'm just seeing the yin yang they're pointing me to. Their life is coming into balance as they're clearing cycles, closing out cycles, and they're becoming aware of the cycles that they were replaying, and thus making healthier choices. There's a balance that's happening here. There's a justice that's coming in. The justice energy feels like balance. It's the epitome of justice. Justice, what is justice? Justice is, I'm getting almost like this energy of, okay, I've put in the work, and so now it's like this reward. And that's where we had channeled in the extended reading. It's like this reward. I don't believe in a reward system from the universe, because it's all about alignment. It's all about the universe meeting you where you are. But it's this energy of reward. And it's because you've worked so hard. And I feel like that's what's coming in for the Divine Masculine. We'll get to how are they feeling about the feminines in a minute. Let's move on to the feminine first. So Divine Feminines, we have Angel of Finances and God of Conflict Resolution. Remember when I said in the beginning of the reading that it feels like things are happening simultaneously. I feel like that's what's happening for the divine feminine. I feel like divine feminine, you've been very focused on yourself, very focused on your life, maybe your business, your work, your career, your finances, your own stability, your own sense of security, whether this is within yourself internally or whether this is within your life structure, like again, finances, career, business, whatever it is. I feel like you've been kind of tuned towards that. But at the same time, there's a lot that's happening behind the veil, so to speak. There's a lot that's happening energetically. And I feel like there is resolution that's happening for you as well. For myself, it came through in the dream. It was conflict resolution with regards to what I experienced with my masculine. Because again, there have been a lot of disharmony and pain in our connection, and I can feel energetically, at least for myself, there was this resolution, this peace that was coming through, just love that's coming through now. Um, you might also be experiencing this within other aspects of your physical world, is what I'm hearing. If this is family dynamics, for example, or friendships, or maybe you've been experiencing some upheaval or conflict with regards to work, colleagues. This can even be, for example, work itself. If you've been experiencing conflict within the structure of your work, I'm trying to get some clarity on how I can articulate this. Give me a second. It's like if you feel like you've been rolling that ball up the hill and not getting anywhere, that kind of thing. It's like there's going to be some kind of resolution. So if you've been like working on a project and feel like you've been getting nowhere, there's a lot of astrological support now wherein that struggle is going to be over. So there's a resolution that's happening from there. And I feel like a lot of that is because you're approaching it differently. You've learned how to approach it differently. Again, whether that is relationship dynamics, like with friends, family, colleagues, or whether this is actually with regards to your finances, if you're struggling with your finances or you're struggling with a project or whatever it is, there's a there's an ease that's coming through. There's a resolution to the way that you were doing things, and a solution for how to do things differently that's bringing through balance and bringing through ease, and that's leading to your abundance. And do you see how both lead to abundance? The way that they brought this through in a meditation to me once, actually I think it was a regression, was twins, sacred partners, counterparts, whatever you want to call it, is two parts of the same whole. And I feel like that's what these connections are. It's like the part of the confusion that happens with counterparts, especially when you first meet, is you think that you're looking at it from the same vantage point, or at least it looks like. Let me put it this way. Let's use our let's use our examples. So let's say you're looking at a sunset here, right? You both have your individual perspectives, but it's almost like you feel like you're looking at it from the same vantage point, like from the same, like you're sitting next to each other and you're looking at the sunset, right? You still have your own perspectives because you're your own individuals, your own, here's person A, here's person B. Like you still have your own perspectives, right? But it's like you're looking at it from the same vantage point. This journey is not like that. You are the yin and the yang. You are the polarity of each other that's coming into balance and that's coming into harmony. And as such, you approach things from two different vantage points. And so it's like you're on one end of the world and and this person's on the other. And it's like maybe here's the sunset in the middle, and it's like you're looking at it from this end, they're looking at it from this end, and it's like you keep trying to bring each other to the other side and say, but no, look, this is the right way. There is no right way. It's just perception. It's just you're doing it from two different vantage points. Now, the sunset metaphor is not a good metaphor because obviously there's one great big ball of light in the sky. But it's that kind of energy. It's like you're looking at it from two different points. In the 1111 portal reading, I think they said it's the analogy of, is it a 6 or is it a 9? Well, they're both the same outline. They're both the same sketch. They just make two different numbers depending on how you're looking at it. But they're both the same. They're both a number. So that's where a lot of the confusion comes from. That's where a lot of the misunderstandings come from. You have a lot to teach each other. You have a lot to show each other, especially about yourselves. And I'm also hearing about the world too. I'm also hearing that's where your expansion comes in, by understanding how the other person might be experiencing their journey or how the other person might be viewing things. That's where expansion comes in. But you have to approach it from a place of openness. You have to approach it from that place of unconditional love. So it's interesting to me that the abundance energy is coming in from kind of like two different vantage points, but you're both going to be experiencing that abundance, or you are experiencing that abundance in different ways. And I'm getting that this is your union energy. And what I'm getting is that this is the higher perspective, and that this is like the 5D energy. You are in that energy of abundance. You just have to allow yourself to release the resistance from it. So let's get a little bit more from the Divine Feminine. What's the Divine Feminine experiencing? The sun. What was I just saying? The sun. Exactly. Exactly. That expansion, that openness, and allowing yourself to expand in your perception as well. Not being so kind of self-focused, not being so narrowed. We have the Nine of Swords as well. Divine Feminines, I feel like you're balancing out here. Okay, with the High Priestess here, I feel like there's a balance that's coming in for you. Remember we were talking about the Divine Masculine as beginning to believe in happiness again? Divine Feminines, you've gone through that journey. We talked about that. You've gone through that journey where you're believing in your happiness. You're even experiencing a lot of that in your physical world. You might be experiencing more stability with your finances. You might be experiencing more flow with business or career or opportunities. You might be experiencing healthier dynamics with friendships and relationships, etc. You might be experiencing more excitement and adventure and alignment. That's what the crux is. You're experiencing more alignment, and that's creating just this magical energy around you. However, I feel like sometimes you get pulled back into some anxiety, into some worry, and that's where you have to keep tuning into your heart and keep tuning into your intuition. Not staying so focused on the physical, but tuning in. Keep tuning into yourself. Keep tuning into your soul space, because that's where you create. You don't create from the outside in. You don't create from the external to the internal. You create within yourself. And I feel like there are some times when you... this feels like it's balancing out, though. This feels like it's not as heavy as it used to be, and it's not as, hearing the word ricocheting like it used to be. So it's like not as much of a seesaw as it used to be. There's an integration and anchoring, and that's happening, so that the anxiety is kind of fading away, and you're just kind of anchoring into that happiness. I want to get a little bit more for the Divine Feminines. Tell me a little bit more for the Divine Feminines. Okay. There's this energy of it's like some of the anxiety is tied up in the past, and I feel like that's what's clearing here. That's what's resolving. So I feel like you're moving more and more into the space of peace, more and more into this anchoring of this happiness, which is like your new normal. But there's still some residual energy of the past that might be kind of bringing up some anxiety for you. But I feel like the more that you tune into your intuition, the more you tune into that inner knowing and in your heart space, rather than focused on the physical world, and the less that you focus on the anxiety, it's like it's like if you focus on the anxiety and the fear, you're going to create more of that, right? We know that. And so it's like the more that you allow that to resolve, the more that you allow that to clear, you're going to anchor more and more into that happiness. Okay, so let's move into how are you kind of feeling about each other. There's the Ace of Swords. Divine Masculine. Yeah, there's a lot of clarity that's been coming in for the Divine Masculine. I feel like they're beginning to see things differently because they're seeing themselves differently. And I feel like they're seeing their journey differently. And that's part of these light codes and new insight and downloads that they've had coming through, especially over the past weekend. I feel like the past weekend was very illuminating for them. And with the Strength card, I feel like it's giving them the courage and the strength to step forward, to step up. Tell me how they're feeling about the Divine Feminines. And the Three of Pentacles, yeah. And I feel like they're wanting to step forward. to communicate with you, Divine Feminines. The Three of Pentacles is an energy of collaboration, working together, and partnership. And I feel like they're beginning to recognize this. They're beginning to recognize the value of this partnership. They're beginning to recognize the value of this connection. Now, we're not talking about relationship as far as romantic relationships and things like that. We're just talking about the energy of the two of you coming together, whatever that looks like for you. We're not talking about, what that looks like in the physical, but we're talking about energetically the value of each other. Again, you have a lot to learn from each other because you are that unconditional love for each other. And I feel like they're beginning to really recognize the value of that. And I'm also hearing that you understand them in a way that they've never experienced before, in a way that they didn't even understand themselves. And that was part of their resistance. And I feel like there was a lot of pride wrapped around that, because it's almost like they had cultivated such a mask that they didn't want you to see them. And the fact that you did, the fact that you understand them as much as they've always wanted that within themselves, the fact that you understand them, it's like that I don't know how to say this. This is what they're bringing forth. It tickled their ego. That's like a phrase that they're bringing forth. It tickled their ego, in that that's why they wanted to push it away. Because sometimes to be seen can feel scary, especially if you were seen in the past, whether past lifetimes and incarnations or whether past experiences that led to punishment, that led to persecution, that led to harm. So being seen never felt good in the past. And here you are, you saw them. But you saw them in a safe way. You saw them in that energy of unconditional love, but they weren't yet able to see themselves that way. And so that's where they were in that resistance, and that's where the ego kind of pricked up. But I feel like they're recognizing the value of you and recognizing the value of partnership, and I feel like that's part of the insight that they have felt and acquired. That's part of the illumination. And I feel like there's this getting a lot of throat chakra activation. So I feel like they're really wanting to speak up, and I feel like it's more so within their own lives. There's still this process of individualization. I don't feel like they're coming forward towards you, Divine Feminines, not yet in the physical at least. They could be for some of you, but they could be communicating with you, but I feel like this is more so an internal process that's happening for them within their own lives. So I feel like they're beginning to speak up for themselves, really beginning to express themselves. And I'm also in this energy of embodiment, beginning to really embody their true authentic self. Because I feel like they're beginning to realize that the mask that they were wearing and how they were behaving or how they were acting was not in alignment with their true self. And I feel like they're beginning to shed that skin, so to speak, shed the skin of the past, and really step forward into this authentic version of them, who they always really were at the core, and even on some level, who they've always wanted to be, but maybe never believed in themselves enough to be that person. This is definitely an energy of higher consciousness. This is definitely an energy of higher awareness and raising one's frequency to match that. And that's part of the strength card here, is having the courage and having the strength to overcome those obstacles to be the person that they want to be. And I'm also hearing to be the person that they want to be for you. A couple of weeks ago, we channeled the song Better Man by Taylor Swift. It was a powerful song where it's like the Divine Feminine has always seen the Divine Masculine in their highest light and in their highest potential. We've always said that the gift of the Divine Feminine can sometimes feel like a curse, because the Divine Feminine can see the Divine Masculine as their past, their present, and their future. And that's been a really hard thing for the Divine Feminine to balance, especially when it comes to the present and how the Divine Masculine might be acting or behaving, especially towards the Divine Feminine in that present energy, especially if the masculine is acting in the wounded or unconscious state. And so it's really hard for the Divine Feminine to reconcile. She can see, who they were, like, especially like that inner child, the innocence, the love. She can see the present energy underneath the masks, underneath the surface, and she can see the potential of all that they can become and all that they truly are. That sacred masculine energy, that conscious masculine energy. It's been very difficult for the Divine Feminine because she can see all of it. She can see that bigger picture, and she has to reconcile with Why isn't it being shown to me? Why isn't it here in the physical? Why can I see all of this energetically, but they're acting this way or they're behaving that way, and it's so painful? So it's kind of like a gift and it's a curse. Well, the divine masculine is beginning to recognize their value, beginning to recognize their worth, and beginning to recognize all that they can be, because they're beginning to see themselves as the divine feminine has always seen them. But they rejected that from the divine feminine because they couldn't yet see that within themselves. Now they're beginning to have the courage, and now they're beginning to have the strength to overcome the obstacles to be that person. And back to the Taylor Swift, I forgot what I was saying for a minute. Back to the Taylor Swift song, it's like, I just wanted you to be a better man. I just wanted you to be, male or female, doesn't matter, but it's the song Better Man. I just wanted you to be the best version of yourself that you could be, because I believe in you so much, because I love you so much. I just wanted you to be happy. And it's like in my dream, for example, that I was talking about in the beginning, it's like, that was my person. Like when I was seeing him smile and I was seeing that genuine smile, it was like, that made me so happy. I'm getting emotional saying that. That made me so happy because it was genuine and it was true and he was happy. And that is all I've ever wanted, was for him to be happy. And there was such love that was flowing from that. And I remember saying in the dream, at least to myself, this is him in his unguarded moments. And I've experienced that within our connection, our actual connection. You know, in unguarded moments, the love flows so freely between us, or it used to. The harmony was always there between us in those unguarded moments. So I feel like the divine masculine is wanting to be that better man. Now, I'm going to put a caveat here because, again, this is going to resonate for everybody in a little bit of a different way. For some, this is going to be the person that was their masculine, that is going through this change and going through this transformation, that is experiencing this, that's going through this well, I guess I'll just call it transformation. For others, this might be somebody that you have yet to meet, that is going through this process and going through this transformation, and you're feeling the energy of it. So release the expectation, release the specifics, and just allow yourself to take what resonates for you in your heart. No matter what, there is a masculine that I feel like you're connected to. This could even be your own inner masculine. There's a masculine that I feel like you are in some way connected to, whether physically or energetically, that is going through this transformation. For more on that, check out the 1111 portal or my other teachings. But I do want to have a caveat there, because I don't want anybody to feel like they are trapped in a connection, or like they are stuck in a connection where it doesn't look or feel like there's any movement. You can't look at what's on the surface. You always have to dive deeper. You always have to trust the energy. But I feel like so many, we can get hooked into the journey itself and attach to the labels. Release the labels and just trust in the energy of what it is that you're feeling, and let it unfold. Let it be. Let it unfold. Let it be what it needs to be. Let it be what it wants to be. And for some, you might have other relationships that come in to just kind of show you more about yourself, or to teach you more in a higher frequency. And then the catalyst partner comes back as that divine match, as that divine counterpart. Every journey is going to be different. Every path is going to be different. Take what it resonates for you. We're a collective here. If you want a personal reading, you can join the Patreon. I'm open to personal readings for Patreon members for the rest of the year. That would narrow it down, where you're going and where you are. But this is a collective, and we've been seeing a split within the collective. Some are moving into higher level soulmate connections. Some are reuniting with counterpart connections from the past, catalyst partners from the past. And when I say catalyst partners, it doesn't mean that they were just a catalyst, but they were the catalyst. They were the same partner that catalyzed you to your journey, and they're coming back as that sacred masculine. I have clients who are going either direction. So take it as it resonates for you. Okay, I just have to put that out there. Okay, Divine Feminines, how are you feeling about the masculine? Divine Feminines, how are you feeling about the masculine? Six of Pentacles, you can feel something shifting. You can feel this balancing out. Where it had been very unbalanced before. And I'm also getting the message that for some of you, for many of you, is because you're balanced out within yourself and you're not accepting that imbalance anymore. So the Six of Pentacles is an interesting energy. It's an energy of giving but not receiving. Sometimes it's an energy of like a beggar kind of energy, like you're begging for love, like you're begging to be seen, like you're begging to be heard, and it's almost like somebody's attention is elsewhere, and maybe the other person is giving so much to other people, but you're kind of in this kind of scarcity. That's the energy of the Six of Pentacles I'm picking up on now, and I feel like you're not accepting that anymore, Divine Feminines. You're not accepting anything that you're not deserving of anymore. You're anything that is not honoring of you. You're recognizing what you're deserving of. You're honoring yourself, and you're not accepting, not being a priority. You're not accepting giving but not receiving. And so there's a balancing out that's happening here, and I feel like you can feel this energetically with regards to your masculine balancing out, wanting to give to you now. They were not capable of doing that before. I feel like they're wanting to give now, wanting to open up to that, and I feel like you can feel that. And it's because you are, I'm hearing, inviting that in. You're inviting that in. Divine Feminines, in the past, you might have been afraid to speak up and express your needs, and even have needs or even have wants and desires. You might have been very afraid in previous connections, especially, to express yourself. But now it's like you've gained that confidence to express yourself and say, no, this is what I require. This is what I need from a connection. This is what I need from a partnership. This is what I need. And so you're honoring yourself, and so you're requiring your partner to honor that within you as well. So there's a balancing that's happening here, and I feel like you can feel that coming in from the conscious masculine that you're having brought in. The Ace of Pentacles is just confirmation of that. It's like that newness. You can feel it coming in. You can feel that beginning. You can feel it being tangible and being abundant. Ace of Pentacles being this energy of tangible new beginnings, opportunities, and I'm also getting this energy of, again, that abundance, and that abundance feels really reciprocal. So it's like Divine Feminines, no longer are you just giving and giving and giving and giving. You're allowing yourself to receive, and this Ace of Pentacles is allowing yourself to receive what the Divine Masculine has to offer, but this doesn't feel like breadcrumbs, and this doesn't feel like pittance. This feels like everything that the Divine Masculine has to offer. This is big. The Ace of Pentacles is a big card. So it's not like page energy, and it's not even knight energy. This is an offering. This is a solid offering, and this is what you require. You require something big. Now, when you are connecting or reconnecting with a conscious masculine in a relationship, understand that it takes time. It might not be a grand declaration. What my dream really showed me was a foundation being set, almost like a starting point. We took a walk. We had a talk. It's like that was part of the resolution. We've been channeling for years that when you're beginning to come into that sacred union, it's going to have to feel like you're getting to know each other again, because in essence you are, because you're not the same person, they're not the same person, whether it is a completely new person that you have to get to know, or whether it's just a new energy that they're in, you're going to have to get to know each other again. And allow for that new beginning. Doesn't mean that you sweep anything under the rug. I think I had said in my dream, like, I can't ignore the past, and that's true, but you have to also allow for new beginnings to take shape and new foundations to form. We went into that in the 11/11 reading as well. I think that might be in the extended. But I feel like these new foundations are being put into place and steps are being taken. And that's what this feels like. It might not be the grand declaration, but it's going to be building on that new beginning, a firmer foundation, a much more stable foundation for your relationship, for your connection being placed here. Ace of Pentacles is not something to be taken lightly. It's a big energy here. One more card for the Divine Feminine. Let's get one more card for the Divine Feminine. How is she feeling about the Divine Masculine? We have the Lovers, and we have the Page of Swords. Yeah, I feel like it's going to start with communication, but it's not going to feel, it might be something small, as in like a foot in the door, but I feel like it's going to be a big step. Let's put it that way. It might look small, but it's going to be a big step. Divine Feminines with the Tower I feel like it might take you a little bit by surprise as well. Maybe not so much with this reading, but I feel like it's going to take you by surprise. Okay, we're going to move over to the Patreon for the extended reading. We're going to dive a little bit deeper. So if you want to join me over there, feel free to, and we'll be back with some more updates over here on the channel. Sending so much love and so much light.